Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a challenge. I've always wanted to do an Iceberg video on my channel about FNAF, but I knew I couldn't create a good one for a video. So I tried to search for a good one to go over for a video. A lot of the ones I saw though were okay at best, or covered in other videos I've seen. As I was searching though, I stumbled upon Reddit, and I found an iceberg titled "The World's Largest FNAF Iceberg." 16 levels filled with thousands upon entries. And I knew that I had to take on this challenge. So that's what I'm going to do. I assume you know what an iceberg video is, but I'll briefly explain it to you for those who don't know. An iceberg video takes a topic, breaks it up into multiple levels, and adds information about a topic onto it. The higher we are on the iceberg, the more known the information is, and the farther we go down, it becomes more obscure. With this certain iceberg, I'm going to take around 10 to 30 seconds to explain every entry, because anything longer than that, and this video is going to be 10 hours long. This video is already going to be like over an hour, and it's only part 1. I'm going to try to shoot for 6 parts for this series, with a lot of time spaced out, so I have time to work on them, of course. When we are done, I'm going to upload a long director's cut and possibly add new things the original iceberg didn't have. Hope you got all that, 'cause I'm not going to explain this one again. Well, in this video, we're going to only go over the top 2 levels. Without further ado, let's get on with the iceberg. "1987 in FNAF 1 Custom Night." I'm playing FNAF 1's Custom Night and try typing in 1987 into each character's AI. A Golden Freddy jumpscare would appear, crashing your game. This was a little Easter egg got caught through into the game as a nod to 1987, the year the game takes place. 420 mode. 420 mode is the first real challenge of FNAF when playing the Custom Night and setting all the characters' AI to their max of 20. Scott Cawthon thought this challenge was even possible until a person named Big Bug beat it soon after the game was released, prompting Scott to add a third star to the loading screen of the game. 8-Bit Gaming, 8-Bit Ryan. I put both 8-Bit Gaming and 8-Bit Ryan in the same section because it's literally the same entry. 8-Bit Ryan is a YouTuber mostly known for creating Five Nights at Freddy's content, but also known for playing other games as well. He has another channel which is called 8-Bit Gaming, where his friend and him ran for years making top 10 and lore videos on FNAF. The channel though has been left dormant for over 3 years. Ambience. Ambience is a pretty important factor that makes FNAF a scary game. There are actually a couple of videos of just about ambience, the most popular being posted by the YouTuber named Scruffy, which does a better job of going over how ambience affects the gameplay of FNAF better than I could. So definitely watch his videos on it. Anniversaries. Only anniversaries I know about that the FNAF community remotely cares about are the anniversaries of when each game came out. Specifically FNAF 1, because last August, the 10-year anniversary of FNAF 1 came out, and we had a whole week build up to the actual day. That day, we saw FNAF Secret of the Mimic come out. Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy is one of the characters first introduced in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Since introduced, people claim him to be the most annoying character in the franchise, and I can see where people come from, but personally I don't see it. He has been in other games such as FNAF 3, 4, VR, and Ultimate Custom Night. Bonnie the Bunny. Bonnie the Bunny is the wingman to Freddy Fazbear. He plays a guitar and does a good job at it. Scott Cawthon, the creator of FNAF, claimed that he's the scariest character because he had a nightmare where Bonnie was trying to get him inside his house. I would be scared too if that happened. Bonus Night. Pretty much every game has a bonus night where after you beat night 5, usually like a 6th night. In FNAF 1, 2, and 4, it's a 6th night. FNAF 3 is called Nightmare Mode. After you beat the night 6, you get a custom night for FNAF 1 and 2, while FNAF 4 gives you a 7th and 8th night. So pretty much no game except for like Sister Location actually goes for exactly 5 nights. Chica the Chicken. Chica the Chicken is the backup singer in the Freddy band, and she's the only girl. She also eats pizza and holds a cupcake. Personally, I find her the creepiest out of the FNAF 1 characters, but that's just my opinion. Classic animatronics. Classic animatronics are all the animatronics that are now withered in FNAF 2. Those animatronics, because FNAF 2 the prequel is how they originally looked before they got withered, and used for parts to create the toy animatronics. Also, the Puppet and Balloon Boy are original characters as well. Console releases. FNAF has been added to console after years of speculation of it if they will go to any console ports. All the games can be played either on PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch now. Corey X Kenshin. Corey X Kenshin is another YouTuber definitely popular for playing Five Nights at Freddy's. He's such an energetic personality when playing the game, and also is pretty funny, which made people fall in love with his personality and his videos. He became so popular that he actually got a small role in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie as a cab driver. Crying Child / Bike Victim. The Crying Child is a child we play as in the night minigames of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and just in the base game as well. We see after night 5 in the minigame of a few people, the Crying Child's brother included, put him in Freddy Bear's mouth, which causes the bite of 87. I say that with air quotes because that's still up for debate. We obviously know though the Crying Child is the bite victim. Custom Night. The Custom Night I mentioned in the bonus night entry, after beating night 6 in some FNAF games or playing through the main storyline, a Custom Night would appear posing as a challenge mode to beat in each game. FNAF 1 has 420 mode, while FNAF 2 and Sister Location have Golden Freddy mode. DA Games. DA Games is a YouTuber and songwriter who has created a lot of his hit songs for FNAF back in his heyday. He has created some songs such as Break My Mind, Left Behind, I Am the Purple Guy, and many more. He has garnered millions of views from his songs across many platforms. Dan TDM. Dan TDM, we all know who that is because he's one of the most popular YouTubers of all time. Not only has he done a Minecraft videos, but he also done a FNAF series and gotten some popularity from that as well. Dalko. Dalko is one of the most popular FNAF YouTubers in the community. He's mostly known for a few things such as his FNAF music videos, his pre-reactions to FNAF info or his completion of 50/20 mode, FNAF meme review, his 2 interviews with Scott Cawthon himself, and his many charity live streams he has been a part of. Dalko is really loved and respected throughout the community. Die in a Fire. I believe this entry is referencing the name of the Living Tombstone FNAF 3 song that is called Die in a Fire. I think the Living Tombstone will be a later entry, so I won't go too much over who they are. The song, however, is very popular. Fan. Wow, the fan gets an entry? It's kind of crazy how much known detail FNAF fans see when playing the game. I know there are other entries that back this claim up, but this is just the start. The fan is pretty popular because it's pretty much in every game sitting on the desk, always on and making sounds. Fan art. The FNAF community has made a lot of fan art through the years and a lot of it's really good. Some though have been a little not safe for work, but overall the art has been amazing. Some have been so good that the official companies thought that they were really FNAF designs and used them thinking that they were under the FNAF copyright. Fandom. The FNAF fandom is pretty much all you watch in this video that has an interest towards FNAF. You know a lot about it and like to watch videos on it. Fandom toxicity. The fandom, although it's pretty positive, could also be a cesspool for controversy and hostility. There have been many accounts of hostility and toxicity and threats throughout the years, which I believe is the reason why people get turned off on being a fan of the game. FNAF film. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie is a horror film that came out in October 2023 and had some good reception. The movie is created by Blumhouse Productions, who has created some scary movies in the past, such as Speak No Evil, Happy Death Day, and Megan. Wait, Megan? Is that where they asked her a question about surviving at Freddy Fazbear's? FNAF game. FNAF 1 came out in August of 2014 and took the horror game world by storm, where millions of people were trying to play it. It's a pretty simple yet scary point-and-click game. FNAF song. Throughout the history of FNAF, there have been many artists who have created songs for the game which have gotten millions of views. We've already mentioned one creator, DA Games, who have made popular songs for the game. Some other artists are The Living Tombstone, JT Music, and Try Hard Ninja. They're very known throughout the community, and I personally like their songs a lot. FNAF 1 teaser. The main teaser I can think of right now for FNAF 1 was the trailer posted to Scott Cawthon's YouTube channel showing off the design of the pizzeria and the characters. I don't think there's any other teasers made for the game, however. FNAF 2 game. Because FNAF 1 was such a huge success, Scott Cawthon wanted to capitalize on it and create another sequel or prequel to this game with new characters and extra content. FNAF 3 game. Because FNAF 1 and 2 were huge hits, Scott didn't want to stop there. He was in the works of creating a third game in the series. In March of 2015, he released Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This game pretty much evolved around Springtrap and the Purple Guy, which is the same person, and the dismantling of the original characters. We also see the original characters in phantom versions, except for Bonnie for some reason. This game again was received very well, plus this is where we actually see lore starting to develop, because we have a bigger story on who is the Purple Guy and about the murders of the 5 children. FNAF 4. Scott Cawthon wasn't done and wanted to make another game to pretty much tie up loose ends with the lore, and give the fans more FNAF content in general. In July 2015, he released Five Nights at Freddy's 4. The game was pretty different than the rest because it took place in a child's bedroom rather than a pizzeria. We play as a crying child and we learn the backstory of what happened on the fateful day of the Bite of 83. This game, although has a lot of positive reviews, found a little bit of negative reviews because it started from the PewDiePie Let's Play video. He says the jump scares weren't scary and very predictable after playing through all the other 3 games. A lot of people agreed with his claim because it was the same format as FNAF 1. Overall, still loved by the community. FNAF in real life, FNAF is real. In the early years of FNAF, people thought it was real for some reason. I mean, I myself included in that group, so I have no room to talk. There were countless of videos on YouTube of people claiming that they have seen certain animatronics in their house or just around. Other claims people may have found the actual location of where FNAF took place, where they found the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Obviously, none of these claims are actually true, but there are many videos like that back in the day. FNAF movie poster. The FNAF poster is an image of all the characters in the game lined up back to back with a purple hue and red glowing eyes. The red eye design, however, was changed early on because of some complaints online saying how the red eye effect doesn't make the characters look scary at all. Just a dumb addition. There are also some other posters for the movie where we see the characters' heads sticking out of a ball pit with their normal eye colors from the movie. Personally, I like the regular eye colors over the red eyes too. FNAF movie set photos. Before the movie came out, there have been some people who have taken forward pictures of the actual movie set of where the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was taking place. Some people saw the Freddy sign outside and the entire building. Some also saw the diner where they filmed the scene with MatPat as well. Also later on, we saw some photos of what happened on the inside of the set of the pizzeria. And I could be wrong here, but I heard that the pizzeria was filmed inside of a building that once was a Home Depot. Now that could have been a rumor, but I swear that was true. FNAF VR Help Wanted. Little less than a calendar month after the last FNAF game came out, Ultimate Custom Night, Scott Cawthon called on Steelwool Studios to help make a VR port of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. So in May of 2019, the VR came out where you can play the first 3 FNAF games in full, and play some other fun mini games as well, such as Vent Repair and Parts and Service. The game was really fun, and it also was the debut of Steelwool Studios, which is the company that has been creating most of the FNAF games in the last few years. FNAF Help Wanted 2. Help Wanted 2 was a sequel to the first VR port, and it came out around 4 years after the last VR. This VR game was mostly just the other content that wasn't put in the first VR game, especially the content that was created after the first VR game. The game was mostly mini-games based with some lore hidden in them. The lore for this game was mostly based off of what happened during the Ruin and what we got to see in The Secret of the Mimic. The mini-games are pretty interesting, where we had to do some food prep, arcade games, parts and servers, health work on Helpy, and a lot more. FNAF Security Breach. FNAF Security Breach is the first huge game that Steelwool Studios has created for FNAF. This game was the first free-roam FNAF game where we had to go around the Pizzaplex doing certain tasks and not get caught by any animatronics. The game was really big at the time, but it had received some mixed reviews. The positive ones were really ones who liked the new content and just have fun with the game. The negative ones were pretty the people who weren't happy about all the massive bugs and glitches the game had in the first week of launch or so. Speedruns were also pretty kind of crazy during this time, where people would get a sub 5 minutes to beat the game. Also, what made people upset was a lot of cut content from the game because the game pushed back due to delays and COVID, plus they were working on a time crunch trying to get the game out in time for the people. I feel like if we wait another few months for the game, it would have definitely been a top tier game. FNAF's Location. FNAF's Location was a big twist from the prior game that Scott Cawthon had made. He wanted to change things up instead of doing the same point and click with the doors and the lights. He released the game in December 2016. This game had more depth, where you had multiple rooms you can go through. Also, the character designs were some of the best and very different from what we've seen in the other games in the franchise. This game is based around Circus Baby because we know that it is the soul of William Afton's daughter trapped inside. This game is up as one of my favorites to play, especially the private room section with Ennard. Also, Scott created a custom night weeks after release to bring some more content to the game. Foxy the Pirate. Foxy is a side character in the main cast of the Freddy crew. He has his own show stage, and usually is out of order. Well, not really, because if you don't see him on the camera, he's running down to kill you at your door in FNAF 1. He's a lovable character who many people thought was a good guy for a while, but the fact is, he isn't. Freddy Fazbear. Freddy Fazbear is the face of the franchise. He is the Fazbear. Without him, there wouldn't be any of this. Although he's been slowly dying from the games, we know that he's the main character because he is the name in every game. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, FNAF 1. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is the place we play in FNAF 1. We know that this isn't the original location, but one of their more popular locations. That's where the characters such as Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy subside. Freddy Fazbear Pizza, FNAF 2. The location of FNAF 2 is most likely one of the more original locations of Freddy Fazbear's, although it's a grand reopening. We see the older animatronics and the new toy ones, so it has been through many years of revamping and changes. We also see the new characters of the puppet who works the price counter, and Balloon Boy who works at the balloon station. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator was a secret game that no one knew was coming out. Scott teased very little of it, and many people thought it would be a Pizza Tycoon type game. Well, it sort of was like that, but the game has some of the best lore sections and new additions of characters than any other game has had. We see new characters such as Lefty, Music Man, Funtime Chica, El Chip, Trash in the Gang, and the Mediocre Melody. This has probably the best ending dialogue we've ever had in gaming history with Henry's speech. For a game that wasn't as themed, this game is definitely a personal favorite of mine. Freddy ripping off his head poster. On a rare occurrence, when look at the poster in the West Hall corner in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the Freddy poster may sometimes show Freddy trying to rip off his head. Definitely something Scott added in as a scare factor. Funko Merchandise. Funko is a company who has made a lot of merchandise for FNAF throughout the years. It made many minifigures, plushies, and clothing with the FNAF brand. Some people like their designs, while some think the quality of their merchandise is cheap and looks like a bootleg. Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is one of the main characters of FNAF Security Breach. He's the only animatronic to help Gregory survive in the Pizzaplex, and the only animatronic that is friendly throughout the history of FNAF. Gmod/SFM animation. In the early years of FNAF, many people have created animations about FNAF using Gmod or SFM, and these videos are usually supposed to be very funny and energetic. Kinda makes the character seem not scary in a way, but that's a good thing. These videos would have millions of views, and I also watched a bunch back in the day. Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is a rare character that you see in FNAF. I will explain how to see him in the next entry, but right now I will explain his significance. We learn more about him in FNAF 2 because he's a character that would respond in your office sometime. We learn from the rare death minigames of FNAF 2 that Golden Freddy is the 5th victim of William Afton, and the body was stuffed inside the Golden Freddy suit. We also know the name of the child who was killed. Her name was Cassidy. Golden Freddy poster. Now I'll explain how to see the Golden Freddy poster in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Same poster where you see the Freddy rip his head off. On a rare occurrence, sometimes it will replace itself with a Golden Freddy head, which spawns himself in your office. If he jump scares you, it will cause your game to crash. Gregory. Gregory is the other main character of FNAF Security Breach. He's the character you play as in the game. He's just trying to survive until morning and get out of the Pizzaplex. We don't know if he has any parents or what his true backstory is, however. Handprints on Freddy. Some early images of Freddy Fazbear show that he has a handprint on his face. People believe that an adult or an old security guard was the person who gave him the handprint. It's Been So Long. It's Been So Long is a FNAF 2 song created by the Living Tombstone. It's the second largest FNAF song behind the FNAF 1 Living Tombstone song, and it mostly will make its appearance in the FNAF 2 movie. It's Me. It's Me was a common phrase heard in FNAF 1. Sometimes you would see Freddy and Bonnie's face flashing your screen saying, "It's me." Also a poster in the East hallway which randomly changed the words, "It's me." People also believe the animatronics jump scare says, "It's me" in FNAF 2, but I don't think that that's actually proven. Also in the FNAF 4 posters leading up to the game's release, it showed the characters with the caption, "Was it me?" Which also kind of goes with the line, "It's me." Jacksepticeye. Jacksepticeye, kind of like Dan TDM, is a huge YouTuber who is also known for creating FNAF content back in its early days. Some things he is also known for is the animations that were created about him playing FNAF. He popularized that subgenre of the FNAF community. Josh Hutcherson. Josh Hutcherson is an actor most notably playing Peeta in the Hunger Games, or Jesse in Bridge of Terabithia. He also played Mike Schmidt, aka the main character in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. He also played him in this upcoming movie as well. Also, let's not forget about the meme he's in. JT Music. JT Music is another singer and songwriter popularly known for the songs he has created for FNAF. His largest song he created for FNAF's location is "Join Us for a Bite," which is still very popular to this day due to the one meme with the Burger King worker. He has created many other hits for the game as well. Jump scares. Jump scares are the main thing FNAF has to offer. The game is known for its jump scares, which pretty much each character has their own personal jump scare. King of FNAF. The King of FNAF has been heavily debated for many years. Many people believe it to be Markiplier, who I will cover in a few entries from now because of his early presence with the game. Others believe it could possibly be MatPat because of his theories about the game and his appearance in the movie, or Dalko because of his completion of 50/20 mode and his 2 interviews with Scott Cawthon. Whoever you believe the king is, it's all up to you. Lore. The lore is mainly the reason why the FNAF storyline keeps going. Fans for years have tried to create a diverse storyline about FNAF and always think they have solved the lore, but when a new game comes out, it pretty much trashes any ideas they remotely had. The lore is the big thing about FNAF, and trying to get into the lore would take hours and hours of time. Mangle. Mangle is a character first introduced in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's supposed to be a redesign of Foxy to look more kid-friendly, but because children can be rough, they've been torn apart and workers have stopped putting them back together due to many accounts of Mangle being pulled apart, hence given the name, the Mangle. Also their gender is yes. Markiplier. Now we talk about Markiplier. He's a self-proclaimed king of FNAF. He's one of the first people to play it and have a huge reason why he became so popular. He was also one of the first people to beat the impossible, air quotes, 420 mode. He's loved for his funny personality and his reactions to the jump scares. He's gained millions of views and is always one of the first people to play a FNAF game when they come out. Mascot horror. I don't know what this entry means specifically, but I believe it has to do with because of the popularity of FNAF, more people have been scared of mascots and the people in costumes like that. I also think that's the reason why Chuck E. Cheese started to stray away from using animatronics in their restaurants to not scare their customers. There are a lot of other accounts of people who have been scared of creepy mascots. MatPat and the Theorist channels. MatPat is the creator of the Game Theorist channel, which is a channel on YouTube which has gained over 10 million subscribers for making Five Nights at Freddy's theories videos. He was the one who popularized the genre of theories and created the main lore of the game. MatPat has also done a lot of other theory videos such as other games and other channels such as Film Theory, Food Theory, and Fashion Theory, where he theorized about these topics respectively. Unfortunately, MatPat himself has retired from work on the Game Theory or FNAF theories in the future, but he did give the rights to the channel to his friends so they would make the theories for the future. Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard is an actor first known for playing Shaggy in anything Scooby-Doo related, but he played William Afton in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Although he has been springlocked in the movie, he most likely will come back in the second movie and definitely in the third movie too. He always comes back. Mike Schmidt, FNAF movie. Mike Schmidt, like I mentioned a few entries ago, is the main character from the FNAF movie, played by Josh Hutcherson. Mike Schmidt was the person who received the paycheck at the end of FNAF 1, so they just used his name as a security guard. Minecraft skins. The Minecraft skins for FNAF are actually pretty well made. A lot of people who made FNAF series on Minecraft knew how to make those skins look legit. Mod. Now, I don't know if they're talking about mods in FNAF or Minecraft mods about FNAF. FNAF mods didn't really exist except for I remember seeing some mobile FNAF cheats, but that's about it. Minecraft mods, however, were cooler. People will create FNAF mobs in the game, also reskin certain items to make them look FNAF-esque, and make maps about the pizzeria location. Mr. Cupcake. Mr. Cupcake is the name of the cupcake we see Chico holding in FNAF 1. The community, however, doesn't use his canonical name and gave him the name Carl instead. I don't like the name Carl personally for the cupcake, but Mr. Cupcake ain't much better either. My grandfather's clock. The grandfather clock is what you hear at the beginning of every night in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. You can see the clock that chimes at the end of the left hallway. Any grandfather clock that you will see will make the exact same chime. Nightmares. Two things about this entry. One, the FNAF 4 characters are known as the Nightmares. Two, when Scott Cawthon was creating FNAF, he had a nightmare about Bonnie trying to get inside his house. It scared him so much that he jumped out of bed to check his door, where it was already locked, but he thought that Bonnie was lurking inside. Now the entry is either mentioning one of these two things. Nose honk. Freddy Fazbear's nose does honk. On a majority of the posters you see Freddy on in FNAF 1 to 3, the nose would honk. In FNAF 4, Dislocation, Pizzeria Simulator, and UCN, any Freddy type flush has a nose that does honk. If you do parts and service in FNAF VR, I believe Freddy knows honk there as well. Phone calls. The phone calls are important details that Scott Cawthon tries to give us during the first 3 FNAF games. Well, it's voiced by Scott, it's not actually Scott. These phone calls may seem annoying, but they actually disclose some information about lore, such as the bite of 87, the sister location, and the death of the phone guy. Phone guy / Ralph. The person that gives you the phone calls doesn't really have a name. People usually call him phone guy. I have no idea where the name Ralph came from. I literally never heard that before. Plushies. Can we mention in the Funko entries, there have been many companies who have had their hand in making plushies of the FNAF characters. Some based it off the character designs, while some based it off the actual plushies we see in the game. Some have been really good quality and well detailed, while some have been looking a little funky. Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop Goes the Weasel is a chime you would hear if you didn't wind the music box in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. If you would hear this chime, you knew that your run was soon to be over because the puppet is about to kill you. Power outage. In FNAF 1, you're only given 100% of power to get through the entire night. If you run out of power, you will cause an outage followed by seeing Freddy's face, which then follows a jump scare. Just because a power outage happens, however, doesn't mean you still can't win. Purple Guy's object identification. When people saw the purple guy's sprite, they wondered what he was holding in his hand. The sprite made him look like he was holding something, although it was the same color as him. Some people thought it was a weapon, others thought it was a phone, some think it's just his hand. But what do you believe? Purple Guy / William Afton. The purple guy we learned early on is William Afton. I believe we first learned this in one of the books because we were given the name William Afton, and Laura started to back up him being the purple guy, because he's the one behind the murders of the 5 children. Those are the one trapped in the Springtraps costume. Rules for safety. The rules for safety was a poster that could be seen on the East Hall corner camera in FNAF 1. Some of these rules are pretty normal, while some of them are kinda weird. Like don't poop on the floor? What? Stay close to mom and leave before dark? That's not weird at all, right? Sanchi FNAF logo. The only thing I know about Sanchi is that they are the ones who have created the ultra-realistic FNAF plushes that look like the ones from the game. People always compare their work with Funko because the qualities of Funkos never looked really authentic. Scott Steam. Pretty simple entry. Pretty much every mainline FNAF game is on Steam currently, except for FNAF World, which used to be on Steam, but was taken off due to Scott being absolutely embarrassed with the project. Also, fun fact, one of Scott's older projects, The Desolate Hope, is still available on Steam. Another project, which sparked the creation of FNAF, Chipper & Sons Lumber Co., was ultimately greenlit by Steam, but never published on Steam. Scott Cawthon. Can't believe the man himself is this low on the tier list, but to be fair, it's in alphabetical order, which I just learned. Scott Cawthon is the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, if you couldn't catch on to that. He started making games at the age of 17 in 1994 and made a lot of Christian games and media for the next 20 years after. After failing to gain any popularity, he set out to make one final game before officially retiring from game development. That game was obviously Five Nights at Freddy's. Good thing he didn't stop before that, because it could have been bad. Scott Cawthon YouTube. Scott Cawthon's YouTube channel is filled mostly with gameplay and trailer from a lot of his games and media he has created. It's also where all the infamous FNAF trailers can be watched. They have tens of millions of views and he has about 3 million subscribers. Scott's political donation controversy. Around 2020, some information was surfacing where Scott Cawthon was donating to some pro-life charities and donating some other Republican charities. It's got a lot of backlash within the community and people's feelings for Scott. Unfortunately, due to all the drama, it forced Scott to retire from the creation of future FNAF games. The community started a hashtag #IStandWithScott to show their support. Although Scott said he's retired, he still works slightly behind the scenes with some of the development of the other FNAF projects, such as the movies and books. Scott Games. Scott Games was a website that was a course Scott ran to put images and teasers of the upcoming FNAF games. These teasers were really popular because they weren't just blunt images. A lot of them had some hidden media inside where people went through source codes and brightened the images. Also, Scott used that to communicate on a live stream with a bunch of theories about FNAF. Chips. I hope this isn't what I think it is. This better not be people shipping characters with other characters that I've seen back in the day. People would always say that Freddy and Chico are together, or Bonnie and Chico should be together, or Freddy and Bonnie. All this random ass shipping. Like, I don't get it that much at all. Silver Eyes. Silver Eyes was the name of the first book created about FNAF. It was the first book in the original trilogy of books and it released in December of 2015. I personally didn't read any of the books about FNAF, although I had the book. I really just hate reading. I'll tell you like a quick sentence about it. The main character's name is Charlie, and her and her friends wanted to visit the abandoned Freddy Fazbear location, and they found out the characters are loving but threatening. You'll just definitely read the book for a better understanding, because I can't tell you anything about it pretty much. Springtrap. Springtrap is the main character of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. He's the only character who can kill you in that game. Springtrap is one of the most important characters in the Five Nights at Freddy's series because he's William Afton. How William Afton got into the Spring Bonnie costume was after dismantling animatronics, the souls of the children he killed tried to attack him, which made him go into the Spring Bonnie suit. Well, some water got on the spring lock, causing a spring lock failure, which crushed William Afton but didn't kill him. Now he's forced to wear the suit and then was boarded up in the safe room for 30 years by his friend Henry until found for the Fazbear Fright attraction. Stars. Stars are for some reason a very popular thing in the FNAF community because I believe only in FNAF 1 and 2, mainly in the office or on some cams, you see some streamers with stars attached to them. That's it. That's literally it. They for some reason stick out to the players of FNAF. Steel Wool Studios. Steel Wool Studios is a company that creates most of the newer FNAF games. They made the games VR Help Wanted 1 and 2, Security Breach, Bus Ruin, and Secret of the Mimic. Cuckoff entrusted Steel Wool to continue on the FNAF legacy after his retirement. There are talks of new games in the future, and they will no doubtly be made by Steel Wool Studios. They also help keep up with the lore. The Bite of 87. The Bite of 87 is probably the largest lore topic talked about in FNAF. First brought up by Phone Guy in FNAF 1, people always speculated on who did the Bite of 87. To be honest, I don't think we still know who did it. It changes like every week. Some say it was Foxy or Mangle. Some people say that the FNAF 4 ending where the crying child gets bit his head off was the Bite of 87. But many people also disprove this theory and say that there was a different bite called the Bite of 83. The Living Tombstone. The Living Tombstone is an electronic rock group who has popularized the genre of FNAF music. They were one of the first to make a song about FNAF, making the FNAF 1 song only a few days after the release of the game. That song has become so popular it's made its way to the end of the FNAF 1 movie, also the FNAF 2 song making it to the second movie. The Living Tombstone has made a song for almost every FNAF game, each having tens of hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. The Missing Children Incident. The Missing Children Incident was one of the first known events that we see in the lore. It was first shown as an Easter egg in FNAF 1 in the East Hall corner where the post on the wall was sometimes changed to a news article talking about the missing children. What we know about is William Afton is the murderer who killed those children dressed in the Spring Body costume so he could lure the children in the back to do his crimes. The Puppet / Marionette. The puppet was first shown in FNAF 2 as the character who sat in the prize counter who needed their music box wound up but they will kill you. This character is pretty prominent as she was the one who gave life to the dead children stuffed in the animatronic suits. She was also the child of Henry, who was the partner of William Afton, who was the one who killed Henry's daughter Charlotte. Top 10 Gaming / Top 10 Gaming Elite. Top 10 Gaming was a YouTube channel that would post top 10 videos about certain games, mainly FNAF, but other games also were in the mix. I say was a channel because this channel hasn't been active in over a year. Their top 10s were usually based on very niche topics in like FNAF, like scary glitches or theories on certain characters. I personally never watched their content, but I clicked on one video and I felt like I was watching a Watch Mojo type video. Torador March. The Torador March is the chant that he would hear from Freddy in the first game when the power goes out. This theme has become a prominent symbol with Freddy and FNAF that when people hear it, they immediately think FNAF. The song first came out in 1875 and of course was popular back then, but now it's even more popular because of Freddy. Toy animatronics. Toy animatronics are the official name for the new characters seen in FNAF 2. They are shiny, better versions of the original cast of characters who are withered and decommissioned. Toys look like bootleg versions of the original gang, looking like they were found on Temu or something. Especially Foxy, I mean Mangle. Trailers. Almost every FNAF game has a trailer to show off the game. The first 5 games all have the trailers on the Scott Cawthon YouTube channel. Any game made by Steel Wool Studios has a trailer either on their channel or the PlayStation channel. These trailers have become a piece of history. Try Hard Ninja. Try Hard Ninja is another music artist who has created some songs for FNAF such as Follow Me, It's Me, The Puppet Song, Goodbye, etc. If you haven't listened to the songs, then you're definitely missing out. He's one of the more loved artists in the community. Ultimate Custom Night. Ultimate Custom Night is the 7th installment in the FNAF series. Well, if you aren't counting FNAF World. Ultimate Custom Night is a challenge game trying to beat 50 characters from previous FNAF games in one huge challenge mode. There are other things you could do, such as changing the AIs of each character, do other challenges the game has to offer, or just have fun and see any points you can get. Ultimate Custom Night at the time seemed nearly impossible, but since then, it's been beaten many times over because all the new strategies have been found. Uncanny Valley. Not quite sure why this is here. I had to look up what Uncanny Valley it means too. I guess it has to do with some characters look pretty damn realistic in such an eerie way, especially sister location with some of the more humanoid characters rather than the animatronics. Was that the Bite of 87? A funny meme that's in the FNAF community. During Markiplier's playthrough of FNAF 4, when he was reacting to the bite scene at the ending, he yelled, "Was that the Bite of 87? This line was just absolutely memed on with the community for how he reacted. William did the murders for no reason. An interesting theory I never really thought of. There was no reason to do the murders. His first murder he committed was against Henry's daughter, Charlotte, which could have been out of spite, but the other murders of children didn't really make sense. I don't know what to think, to be honest. If you have any ideas, post a comment down below. And while you're down there, please check if you are subscribed. I would truly appreciate it. Plus like the video. That would be absolutely great. We're almost done with this level, I promise. William is Springtrap. Willtrap. Pretty much saying a fact here. William is the one who did the murders with the Spring Bonnie suit, so that the children to come and haunt them. He puts the suit on and the spring-like failures happens. Cause him to become Springtrap and get locked up for 30 years. You can't see inside the kitchen. Another stating the fact, there is no way to see inside the kitchen in FNAF 1. There's a camera that goes into the kitchen, but it's always out of commission. People speculate that if you type a certain code into the custom night AI, then you can access the kitchen, which prompted Scott to put a Golden Freddy jump scare after typing in 1987 into the AIs. Also in UCN, the kitchen camera still doesn't work. Later that night is about the Aftons. Later that night was a secret minigame found in the Midnight Motorist minigame in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. We see a man drive home from somewhere, going home and seeing his son has ran away somewhere. Maybe to Freddy's, I don't know. Also in this minigame, we can go to a bar called Junior's, which we are turned away from because we aren't allowed back in. This entire Easter egg is speculated to be William after coming back from killing Henry's daughter, Charlotte, outside of Freddy Fazbear's. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you put it all together and see it. Save him and save them. Save him and save them are lines that are said recurrently throughout FNAF 2. Mainly in the secret minigame in FNAF 2, as you're walking through the pizzeria, you hear a weird voice in the background spelling out "save them." And when you get caught by the purple guy, you see text for a second saying, "You can't." Show Stage Stare on Mobile Edition, Mandela Effect. There's one image that people claim to see in their FNAF game where on stage, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica are looking at the camera. Well, it's fake. The image comes from the FNAF 1 trailer where the animatronics look at the camera for a split second, but not in game even though people swear they've seen it. Hashtag I Stand By Scott. Hashtag I Stand By Scott was a hashtag that became really popular on the time of his huge controversy. Before Scott's retirement, he found himself into controversy because he was found donating to some conservative groups, who I believe were anti-LGBTQ, but I'm not totally sure about that. It was just a misunderstanding and people were in full support of Scott, which led to the I Stand By Scott to be popularized. 1987 at FNAF 1 will unlock the kitchen camera. I mentioned this in the where you can see inside the kitchen entry. People thought if you do that, you can see in the kitchen, but obviously you can't. And as Scott, being the troller that he is, added a Golden Freddy jump scare there instead. 50-20 mode. Again, I mentioned this in the Ultimate Custom Night entry. 50-20 mode is the hardest challenge in FNAF history, setting all the characters' AIs to 20. Although this is a difficult challenge, it's very possible and consistently easily beaten by some people. Abby Schmidt. Abby Schmidt is one of the main characters in the FNAF movies. She's the little sister to Mike Schmidt, who is another main character. She's good friends with all the animatronics in the pizzeria, which weirds out Mike. She's played by Pepper Rubio, who, fun fact, is a big FNAF fan in real life. Amber Lee Connors. Amber Lee Connors is a voice actress who voiced a few characters in the FNAF series. Some of them include Boy Chica in the FNAF UCN secret cutscenes, Claire from the Sister Location show cutscenes, and some FNAF Worlds characters. She's also been a voice actor for other types of media, so you may recognize her, I don't know. She hasn't done voice acting for FNAF in a while. An interview with Scott Cawthon. Falco was given an award if he was able to beat 50-20 mode on UCN. An interview with Scott Cawthon. Well, he did beat 50-20 mode and did get an hour-long interview with Scott Cawthon, which is posted on his YouTube channel. Also, during the 10-year anniversary celebration week, Falco and Scott did another interview, which was also posted on Falco's channel. Animdude. Animdude is the username that Scott Cawthon uses on his social medias. This name is given to his running character avatar on his socials. His character is also a boss in the FNAF world. AR skins. To get somebody interested into this crappy game, Lemmic tried to add character skins so they could stand out. These skins were representative of different holidays because this game was a fun delivery service of animatronics designed for different holiday events. You might recognize some of them, such as Frost Bear, Liberty Chica, Chocolate Bonnie, or 4th of July Freddy. The game was just bad. I'm glad it's gone. Backstage stare. In FNAF 1, there's a rare chance that when you look at the backstage on the cams, you know, the skeleton and the character heads will stare at you on the camera. It's a cool little Easter egg that Scott added. Balloon Boy hate. A lot of people hate Balloon Boy, and I know why, but I really just don't care that much. People just really find his laughs just absolutely annoying, especially when you're trying to listen to for other things. Also, he doesn't kill you in the game. He just takes your batteries from your flashlight, which I guess could be a good reason why to hate him. Kind of that's definitely annoying. Bonnie close up. There are many instances where we see Bonnie close up, especially in FNAF 1. He's close to the camera screen in the backstage cam, pushes his face in the west hall corner, and in the FNAF 1 trailer, he pulls his mask off right in front of you. Bonnie color debate. There was a debate online in the early days of FNAF on what color is Bonnie. Sometimes he looks purple on some sprites, while in some other instances he looks blue. Now personally, I think he is purple, even though all our other Bonnies are blue. But what do you think? Bonnie's Lullaby. Bonnie's Lullaby is a background soundtrack heard in FNAF 3 during one of the secret minigames. The last secret minigame, he plays a glitchy shadow Bonnie trying to give a cake to a crying soul, but Bonnie's Lullaby OST plays in the background. It's one of the better OSTs from the game because of the calming yet eerie vibe it gives. Bootleg merchandise. I remember talking about this in another entry, I believe, but I'll bring it back up again. There's been a lot of bootleg merchandise based on FNAF. As you know, it's bootleg is for how bad it looks. Usually you see this appear on some sketchy websites that may take your credit card numbers, or the random kiosks in the middle of the mall. Break My Mind. Break My Mind is a FNAF 4 song that was created by DA Games. He's made many songs based on the early games of the franchise, and this one was probably his largest one. It's a great song, so please give it a listen. Burn Trap. Burn Trap is one of the 100 different variants of William Afton or Springtrap. We see him in the death of two Pizza Plex in the security breach. We had to fight him so we won't take control of Freddy. At the end, we burn the Pizza Plex to the ground. Burn Trap gets taken by the blob so you can stay within the ruins of the Pizza Plex. He will come back, don't worry. BV First. BV First stands for Bite Victim First. This is supposed to represent that the bite we see in FNAF 4's ending is the first child killed in the Scott era. There's been other murders of children, but theorists believe the crying child is the first. This event caused William Afton's murder spree. Candy Cadet Stories. There is a rare chance when you use a token on Candy Cadet, he will tell you a story. The stories that he talks about are usually the same things. 5 entities coming together to become one person. Either 5 kittens, 5 orphans, or 5 keys. At face value, the stories don't seem that important, but they have significance with the lore. Also in FNAF Ruin, you can also hear another Candy Cadet story if you collect enough coins. Carl the Cupcake. Carl the Cupcake is the name of the cupcake Chico holds with FNAF 1. Carl is actually a name given by the FNAF community for the cupcake, while officially the game just calling him Mr. Cupcake. But to be honest, that's kinda lame. Carl is a lot better. Cassidy. Cassidy is theorized to be one of the victims of William Afton, and the prominent one, which I'll explain more thoroughly in the next entry. All I'll say is here is her name was found by Matt Patton theorists in the FNAF Survivor logbook. When looking in the word search, the name Cassidy comes up a lot. Cassidy's Golden Freddy. I'll explain the significance of Cassidy in this entry. Because she was one of William Afton's victims, she possessed Golden Freddy being the vengeful spirit, keeping Afton in his own personal purgatory in UCN. She is also known as the one you should not have killed, which makes sense for what she is doing to Afton in purgatory. Cassie. Cassie is the protagonist of FNAF Security Breach, the Ruin DLC. You play as her and you go through the ruins of the Pizzaplex trying to get to Gregory, who is trapped down in the Pizzaplex. Once you get down there, you learn that you were tricked by the Mimic and Cassie tries to run away. 2 of the endings are pretty much Cassie's demise. Either she gets trapped in the Vandy mask hitting a dead end, so the Mimic catches her, or she gets trapped in the elevator which falls down on her. Now we don't know if she actually lives here. I don't know if there will be a part 2 to Security Breach, so we may never see her again. Charlie's gender was retconned. There's a lot of inconsistency with what gender is Charlie in FNAF. Charlie's the soul of the puppet who I've been calling Charlotte pretty much the entire video. People thought that Charlie might be a boy because of FNAF 2. They kept saying save him. But in FNAF 6 we see Henry's daughter is the soul that's in the puppet. I believe Charlie is a girl with other clues given. Even the puppet's voice is feminine and the movie makes the puppet as a girl. So I'm just gonna say girl. Charlie First. Charlie First is like BV First, which people believe that William Afton's murder of Charlie was the first murder in the Scott era, rather than the bite victim being the first murder. This then leads Afton to his murderous spree. Charlotte Emily. Charlotte Emily is the full name of Henry's daughter, who was murdered by William Afton, which later then became the puppet. So that means Henry's full name is Henry Emily. Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. is one of Scott Cawthon's early games he created, which didn't get a lot of success. It was also Scott's last big game before he made FNAF. This game helped jumpstart FNAF because one person left a review on Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. saying that his characters look like scary animatronics. Say that again. Chipper hasn't been forgotten, however, by Scott because he used that character in future projects such as FNAF Pizzeria Simulator, FNAF UCN, Security Breach, and maybe even FNAF VR 2. Circus Baby. Circus Baby is the main antagonist in FNAF Sister Location. She was made by William Afton and is kind of a murder animatronic but also a fun animatronic for kids. Unfortunately, it killed Elizabeth Afton, William Afton's daughter, who then possessed Baby. Baby has a scooper in her stomach which kills children who are alone with her in a room. She also came back in FNAF 6 as Scrap Baby because she was booted from Ennard. She was also the ringleader who manipulated Michael Afton into getting scooped at the end of FNAF 6 location. Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental. Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental is the area we play in its sister location. Circus Baby, of course, being the main character because she was possessed by Elizabeth Afton. Other characters that can be rented out from this place are Ballora, Funtime Freddy, and Funtime Foxy. Click Team. Click Team is a software Scott Cawthon used to make the FNAF games. I highly doubt any Steelwool games are made on Click Team though. FNAF 1 through UCN were all made on Click Team. Scott Cawthon mainly used Click Team Fusion 2.5 for his FNAF games. Community abbreviations. I think this has to do with all these weird abbreviations that fans give for certain topics in the FNAF lore. For example, I mentioned BB first and Charlie first as these short abbreviations of events that happened during FNAF. Also, some other ones I saw are Will Care and Will Grief, which may come up later in this Iceberg. I never heard of these, by the way. I don't know what these are about. Connection terminated. This phrase is the start of the infamous monologue given by Henry Emily at the end of FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. During his monologue, we see all the memories of FNAF get burned to the ground, including the animatronics inside. Like I said, this is the most famous ending of FNAF, and Henry did a great job delivering the scene. Ryan Child is Golden Freddy. Ryan Child is also speculated to be Golden Freddy. I've heard that both Cassidy and him could be possibly confessing Golden Freddy at the same time, because his soul gets put to rest while Cassidy still has her anger and rage, which makes her a vengeful spirit. Ryan Child is the FNAF 4 protagonist. Well, it makes total sense for him to be the protagonist. You're in his bedroom trying to survive from all the nightmares trying to attack him. You also see certain hospital items next to him, such as pills, flowers, and IV. It's believed that what happens in FNAF 4 was just a dream in his head while he was in the hospital, but I could just be spewing some stuff, I don't know. Ryan Child posters. Another rare screen scene in FNAF 1. Sometimes when you're looking at the west hallway on the cameras, there would be posters of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. But sometimes it would change to 3 crying children as a rare Easter egg. It represents the children who were murdered and stuffed in the suits. Curse of Dreadbear. Curse of Dreadbear is a DLC of FNAF Fear Help Wanted. This DLC pretty much added some cool Halloween features to the game, while also adding 2 new characters to the game, such as Dreadbear and Grim Foxy. Not sure if there's any significant lore here, except for at the end of the new content, you see a Venny Mask, which is a teacher to the security breach. Also, there's a moment where you can see the construction of the Pizzaplex in the distance. Dee Dee. Dee Dee is a character first shown in FNAF World. She looks like a different color in the Balloon Boy. Her main role in FNAF World was she ran the fishing hole minigame. In Ultimate Custom Night, however, she randomly shows up to randomly throw a character in the game with a random AI. When it's a 50-20, however, she doesn't show up, but her counterpart XOR, or XOR, would. XOR would throw in all the extra characters at you to deal with them at the game at once. XOR is also a character from FNAF World. Dream/coma theory. Probably the largest theory in FNAF. Every event that has happened in FNAF was all just a dream by the crying child. That's why many things seem a little weird in the games. It could also be that he's in a coma, which is believed because of the hospital symbols in his room. MapBat created this theory, which has gotten the most views on his channel. He also got a bunch of theories together on a live stream to talk about it, which then Scott Cawthon started to talk to them about it. Even the FNAF movie mentioned the dream theory, which is a book Mike Schmidt was reading in the beginning of the movie. East Hall Corner backstory newspapers. I mentioned this in an earlier entry. There's a chance when we look at the East Hall Corner that you could see the rule poster on the wall change to a newspaper clipping about the children's murder incident. There's 4 different posters that can spawn there talking about the incident. Easter egg characters in the FNAF movie. I can't remember exactly who this is referencing to in the FNAF 1 movie. I think Golden Freddy may have been in the back rooms in a scene in the FNAF movie. I honestly can't remember. I know Sparky's technically back there. Also, there's an animatronic called Ella. She's like, her spring locks are showing off in the movie. I believe she's in the book at one point. In FNAF 2, I know for a fact you can see Shadow Bonnie for a split second in a scene. So I think that's what they mean in this entry. Elizabeth Afton. Elizabeth Afton, like I mentioned before, is a daughter of the main antagonist, William Afton. She gets killed by the creation of Baby and then possesses her. We know of her existence because we see an empty bedroom in the FNAF 4 minigame. Emma Tammy. Emma Tammy is a filmmaker, director, and producer who is known for the creations of the FNAF 1 and 2 movies. She's also working on the 3rd movie that should come out in the near future. And Night minigames FNAF 3 and FNAF 4. I'm going to explain both of these in the same entry because they're pretty much similar. After you beat a night in FNAF 3 or 4, you'll be hit with one of these minigames. In FNAF 3, you play as each FNAF animatronic who gets dismantled by Purple Guy. By the 5th night, we play as one of the souls of the dead children who scare William into the Spring Bonnie costume that kills him. In FNAF 4, we play as the crying child going through the house trying to go to Freddy's but being very scared. At night 5, we see the crying child's brother and friend take him to Fredbear. He puts the crying child in the mouth of Fredbear, killing him, which is known as the Bite of 83. These minigames are prominent with the lore of FNAF. Ennard. Ennard is a character seen in FNAF Sister Location. He's an amalgamation of all the FNAF Sister Location characters created to be one so they can all fit into Michael Afton's body. Baby then gets ejected from Ennard for taking too much control. Ennard then becomes Molten Freddy. I love Ennard because I love the extra night you have to face him in such a location. It's just a challenge, but fun to do. Extras menu. In games such as FNAF 3, 4, and sister location, once you beat night 5 or night 6, you unlock an extras menu which shows off a few things about them. Some show off animatronic designs, the creation process of the animatronics, each jump scare, and some have some secrets in them. This could be a challenge mode to make the games more difficult, like aggressive mode on FNAF 3, or Mad Freddy and Instant Foxy on FNAF 4. Alice Bonnie screen. On a rare occurrence, when booting up with night on FNAF 1, there's a rare chance you can see a picture of Bonnie without his eyes. Also, there would be a weird glitchy sound in the background. This was just another Easter egg that got added in to scare the players. As tokens. As tokens come up a lot in FNAF games. First in Pizzeria Simulator, you get 10 fast coins to play any game in your pizzeria before you start a night. This is brought up again in FNAF Fear Help 101. When you find all fast tokens, you lock some secrets from the game. In Security Breach Ruin, you go to find some fast tokens as collectibles to give to Candy Cadet for another story. Not to be confused though with FNAF coins, which is we see in UCN and AR Special Delivery. Fazbear Entertainment Incorporated. Fazbear Entertainment Inc. was the original company Freddy Fazbear was named under. After FNAF's Pizzeria Simulator, the company became defunct, but then it came back as Fazbear Entertainment LLC with a new person running the show. Fazbear Frights the Horror Attraction. Fazbear Frights the Horror Attraction is the name of the location we play in FNAF 3. This attraction was to show the horrors of the Freddy location and all the rumors they have made spread about them. The reason why Springtrap is here is because when looking for stuff for this attraction, someone found him guarded behind a safe room. At the end of the game, Fazbear Frights then burns to the ground. Fazbear Frights books. All these entries are pretty much the same entry. Each of these are books in the series of Fazbear Frights. In each Fazbear Frights book, we get a story about FNAF that ties within the lore. The most popular one that you might know is Into the Pit, because this book was turned into the game named after it. Sorry the entry seems a little short though. I never actually read the end of these books, because I hate reading. But you should definitely read these books because if you're interested in FNAF. They're like goosebump stories, in a way. Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria Simulator different endings. There are a few different endings in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. You can receive 6 different certificates which help you unlock the many endings. We have Henry's Monologue as an ending, Insanity ending with Egg Baby, Bankruptcy ending which speaks for itself, Mediocrity where you can do absolutely nothing during the game and win, and Blacklisted ending which is where you beat the game with 50 risk. 5 Long Nights. 5 Long Nights is a song based on the first FNAF game created by JT Music. This is a great song and JT Music has made some absolute bangers for FNAF. I don't know if they're going to be mentioned later. If they are, I'll keep what I want to say for them then. Five Nights at Candy's. Five Nights at Candy's is a popular fan game based on FNAF. Candy, being the main character, owns a restaurant for burgers, with their cast of characters, Candy, Cindy, Chester, the Penguin, Old Candy, Blank, and the Rat. This game is really well made for a fan game. It also has 2 other installments. The game was created by Emil Mako back in 2015. He also been accepted into the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative, which is to recognize fan games by Skull Coffin. FNAF 1 is set in 1992 or 1993. Another group up on entries. People aren't sure what year FNAF 1 takes place in. I don't know where 1992 and 1993 came from, because I would think 1987, but that seems way too obvious for this game. I remember hearing 1993 float around a little bit though. People are just trying to find a way for everything to be continuous rather than retconned. FNAF 1 visual hallucinations. When playing FNAF 1, sometimes you will get hallucinations of Freddy or Bonnie on your screen with the words "It's me" plastered around sometimes. This is supposed to scare the player thinking something bad is going to happen. FNAF 2 film. The FNAF 2 movie is a recent movie based on the characters of FNAF 2. It follows after the FNAF 1 movie with Mike Schmidt, Abby Schmidt, and Vanessa all find about a new location with the animatronics who want to kill all the adults because the puppet who's controlling them is angry. Charlie, the puppet's soul, is angry because of the earlier scene when she tried to ask for help from an adult because she saw William Afton take a kid to the back room to possibly kill him, but no one would help. The movie isn't out anywhere, unfortunately, but it will hit streaming services soon. It had a successful box office run of $238 million with a $36 million budget. FNAF 2 cutscenes. After completing a night in FNAF 2, you're hit with a cutscene which looks to be the point of view of Freddy in FNAF 1, looking back and forth from Bonnie to Chica. As the days pass over, the characters look angrier, plus the puppet comes out at one point to stare at you. FNAF 2 is a prequel. Another huge theory. People believe that FNAF 2 is a prequel because the year it happened was 1987, which is before the 1992 and 1993 expected time for FNAF 1. Also, this is the time the Bite of 87 happened, which again happened before FNAF 1. FNAF 2 presets. Other than changing the AIs of the characters of FNAF 2's custom night, Skull Coffin gave us presets, or challenges you can complete before you move on to the big challenge of Golden Freddy mode. These presets are just random characters with certain AIs to mess around with. FNAF 3 different endings. FNAF 3 only has two endings, the good and the bad ending. The bad ending, you just had to complete the game normally. The good ending, however, you had to complete all the certain mini-games in a certain pattern and give cake to all the children. So by night 5, all the souls will be put to rest and you get the good ending. FNAF 4 is set in 1983. FNAF 4 is presumed to be set in 1983 because when you go towards the TV in one of the end of night mini-games, you see the TV flash Fredbear and Friends 1983. Another hint towards this is that in FNAF's location, when facing entered, if you type in 1983 in the keypad, you see certain angles of the FNAF 4 house. That pretty much concludes that it is happened in 1983. FNAF 4 Halloween Update and Edition. In Halloween 2015, that rhymed, Capcom released a DLC for FNAF 4, adding cool Halloween variants to the characters. Chica and Bonnie became Jacko Chica and Jacko Bonnie, Nightmare became Nightmare Yon, Foxy became Nightmare Mangle, and Plushie became Nightmare BB. Other than that, just character changes. We have some slight changes to the mini-game, adding some Halloween decorations. Most importantly, Sky added some cheats and challenges to the game. Some cheats were like Fast Nights and House Map, with some challenges being Mad Freddy, Instant Foxy, Blind Mode, and All Nightmare. FNAF AR Special Delivery. The worst FNAF game to date. This game was created by Alumnics trying to test out augmented reality, but they just didn't do a great job. There was no goal to this game, pretty much trying to collect these current animatronics and their 100 variant skins. I mentioned some of the weird skins they had already, but it got so bad people were calling out Alumnics for the terrible designs, for just being absolutely lazy. For example, Melted Chocolate Bonnie, which was a cheap ripoff of Chocolate Bonnie. They stopped caring about the game altogether, so it just faded out and later just shut down, so it could never be played again. FNAF Beatboxing. FNAF Beatboxing became popular because of one person, AbdulSys. Hopefully he didn't butcher his name, by the way. He made a funny beatbox to the FNAF 1 song by the Living Tombstone, and everyone memed on it. He also has done other FNAF songs, but they aren't as popular as this one. What's even funnier is that this meme was so popular that it made its way to the FNAF 2 movie. When Mike Schmidt picked up a Freddy Fazbear doll, it made Abdul's beatbox sound. I couldn't believe it. FNAF items on the Roblox Marketplace. There are a few items that can be bought on the Roblox Marketplace that you can use on your avatar by FNAF. I believe they have like Freddy skins or even heads of some characters, accessories like backpacks and bow ties, shirts, and a lot of other merchandise. You can rock the FNAF merch. FNAF movie original announcement. FNAF movie I remember being announced like years before it was released. Well, definitely had to do with the original partnership that Scott was working with. He originally got Warner Bros. To help him make a FNAF movie, but then they parted ways. Then Blumhouse soon took over the project, and they wrote a whole script for it. Scott didn't like the script, and then shit canned the entire thing. The movie kept getting pushed back and back, but thankfully we finally have not just one, but two movies. More in the works. FNAF movie Red Eyes. Some of the original posters and trailers, it depicted the animatronics to have red eyes because they thought it would add a scary vibe to the characters. Well, it didn't, and the fans spoke out saying they didn't like it, so instead of red eyes, they went with the calmer yellow instead, which looked a lot better in my opinion than the red. FNAF Plus. FNAF Plus was a FNAF fan game that was supposed to be an upscale, scarier version than the original FNAF. It was going to be a pretty sizable project. Just seeing the character designs was going to make the people hyped to play the game. FNAF Plus even made its way to the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. However, in August of 2023, the creator of FNAF Plus, named Fiznom, was live streaming FNAF Ruin, and didn't seem so impressed. Afterwards, he tweeted out that they thought the game sucked and didn't have fun. Everyone dogged on him for this, which caught him into major controversy. Due to this, Fiznom completely stopped the creation of FNAF Plus, and to this day, there hasn't been signs of him picking it back up. Do you think he will? FNAF VR Help Wanted different endings. Like most games, FNAF VR Help Wanted has different endings. One ending, you approach a door and then a slot opens, which Glitchup's face pops up. He then fades into the darkness and the cutscene ends. Another ending, you're going through a bunch of rooms and you make it to the backstage, which Glitchup invites you to come on stage. You come on stage and you're trapped inside of an animatronic suit, presumed to be Freddy. You then see Glitchup in the background dance as he trapped you in the suit. Another ending is when you fail to do a certain task, you get possessed by Glitchup and see into his eyes. The last ending is only for the mobile port of FNAF VR. If you play through the Princess Quest minigames, you end in a room with a scary bunny entity, which is supposed to be Glitchup, and you can't escape, while the game ends there. FNAF will be real in 52 minutes. FNAF will be real in 52 minutes is a meme of Freddy Fazbear with meme text saying, FNAF will be real in 52 minutes. That's it. It's just a silly meme. FNAF World. FNAF World was a slight troll game created by Scott Cawthon after the creation of FNAF 4. He wanted to go back to his roots and create another turn-based fighter game, but use his FNAF characters. People absolutely hated it. Well, not as bad as FNAF AR. There were more mixed reviews. However, Scott was very embarrassed with this game. He pulled it from Steam and put it on Game Jolt instead for free. FNAF World Update 2. Update 2 is the one and only update FNAF World had, which came out on May 13, 2016. And this update added a lot of quality of life changes to the game. New characters were added such as Jackal, Bonnie, and Chica, Nightmare Yon, Nightmare Balloon Boy, Purple Guy, Anim Dude, Mr. Chipper, and Coffee. Also added new areas of play, minigames and bosses, and other stuff. Some minigames being Foxy Fighters, Foxy.exe, FNAF 57 Freddy in Space, and Chica's Magic Rainbow. New enemies include Jangle, P-Goon, yeah that's his name, Neon, Souldozer, and Scott's Head. A lot of other changes were made to add content to the game. FNAF/VHS. FNAF VHS is a popular genre on YouTube where creators would create an analog horror series based on the VHS tapes found at Freddy Fazbear's. Some would be training tapes, or live performance tapes, or maintenance or animatronic tapes. This became popular in 2019 from the YouTuber Scoopus McGrimpus, who created these VHS tape videos. FNAF Security Breach character leaks. Before the release of FNAF Security Breach, Funko got their hands on the rights to the characters for merchandise. They promoted the characters in the game before they were even officially promoted by Steel Studios. They had to quickly erase this and deliver an apology. FNAF Security Breach delays. Security Breach was a huge game because it was the first FNAF game that was free roam. This game took a couple of years to develop and got pushed back so much. One main reason is due to the pandemic in 2020, pushing it back a whole calendar year. Afterwards, because the game became so vast but working on a tight deadline, Duel had to cut a lot of the predetermined content out of the game to get it out on time. When it was released in December 2021, the game was very buggy and glitches were riddled everywhere within the game. FNAF Security Breach different endings. Security Breach has 6 different endings. Gregory leaves the Pizzaplex alone, Gregory and Freddy leave together in a van, disassembling Vanny, the rooftop ending, the ending after being burn trapped, and the ending after being all 3 of the Princess Quest minigames. FNAF Security Breach glitches. Like I mentioned in a couple of entries ago, there were many glitches in Security Breach on launch day. Some where you can glitch through walls or access places you shouldn't be able to access early on. Some people even use these pre-patched glitches to speedrun the game in just a few minutes. FNAF the Original Book Trilogy. The next 3 entries are pretty much the same. They're the original trilogy of books that have come out in the series. The story follows a girl named Charlie, whose father owned the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria. Her friends and her wanted to go back to the abandoned location. She thinks the animatronics are out of commission, but she was wrong. In the second book is Charlie trying to move on, but also always drawn back to the animatronics. In the third book, we follow a guy named John, who has to uncover the secret of Charlie. Each book has also has a graphic novel, or you can get the original copy of the book if you want. This book also reveals the name of the purple guy, being, of course, William Afton. FNAFworld.com. FNAFworld.com was a website created by Scott Cawthon to promote some teasers and updates about FNAF World. After FNAF World Update 2 came out, it had pretty much been abandoned. And I checked recently and the link doesn't exist anymore. I remember seeing on Reddit that it went out of service around 2025. Fort Scene. In the FNAF movie, after Mike Schmidt was trying to warm up to the animatronics while Abby and Vanessa were completely fine with them, they decided to build a fort inside the Freddy's Pizzeria with the animatronics. A lot of people took this scene negatively because this is supposed to be a horror movie, and we see the protagonist just building a fort with the supposed scary creatures. People also say that this was the worst scene from the entire FNAF movie. Foxy did the Bite of 87. One of the earliest FNAF theories was Foxy was the one who did the Bite of 87. Reason for that being is that in FNAF 2, his jump scare looks like he's lunging at you from the hall with his mouth wide open. People saw this and put 2 and 2 together thinking Foxy would be a top candidate for the bite. Foxy Go Go Go. Foxy Go 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 was a secret death minigame seen in FNAF 2. You play as Foxy and you had to run out to Pirate's Cove to celebrate children. Every time you run, the children become less happy and soon Purple Guy shows up. When Purple Guy shows up, all the children are dead. The minigame ends with a Foxy jump scare and you're sent back to the home screen. Foxy Mile during car ride. Scott Cawthon said that during a long road trip to his in-laws, he worked on the design for the original Foxy in FNAF 1. He states that's the reason why Foxy always looks so torn up. Foxy's song. There's a random chance in FNAF 1 that when you hover over Pirate's Cove, you can hear Foxy singing. There aren't any words or anything, it's just a bunch of dum-dee-dums. This feature of Foxy's character also was shown in the FNAF 1 movie, where the dum-dee-dums were voiced by none other than Kellen Goff, the voice of pretty much every Freddy in FNAF. Fredbear and Fredbear's Family Diner. Fredbear is a character first shown in FNAF 4. Well, his nightmare look is first shown in that game. We know that him and Spring Bonnie used to have another restaurant called Fredbear's Family Diner, who was a predecessor to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. We see Fredbear on stage in the FNAF Fortnite minigame because Fredbear is the one who bit the crying child. Freddy and Friends on Tour. Freddy and Friends on Tour was short episodes created by Steel Studios to hype up the release of Security Breach. It follows Freddy and the gang go on random adventures and encountering Foxy every so often. Each episode had some dark lore hidden between each episode, whether it was static or an ending scene showing something off. They were all posted on a teaser website by Steelwool. I wish I could remember what it was called to see if it's still up. Freddy did the Bite of 87. Another early theory, people believe that Freddy did the Bite of 87. Reason to believe this is in the picture of Freddy's face, you can see a handprint right over Freddy's eye. People believe that there was a kid trying to escape from Freddy, but couldn't. Another possibility is one of the rules in Freddy's is you can't touch Freddy. Someone then touched Freddy, which led to the Bite of 87. Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex is a place you play in FNAF Security Breach. This place is huge because it's the first ever free roam FNAF game. There's so many places to go and things to do. You want to do go-karting, play mini golf, laser tag, bowl, or bake cakes? They have it all. You want to eat pretty much any cuisine? They have it so many. It has it all. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Gary's Mod. Gmod has a FNAF map where anyone could play on. It was really popular back in the day where many creators, like Markiplier, made videos on playing on the map. You may have seen the designs of the characters because they were using those very popular animations of FNAF back in the day, like those YouTube poops or MLG videos. Freddy's declining relevance. Freddy himself is declining in relevance. I don't think they're talking about the games. There wouldn't be 2 movies and many new games and books still being released. Freddy, though, he's being shown less and less in the FNAF games. For example, Secret of the Mimic, Freddy didn't show up a single time. Even in prior games, Freddy himself is never the main focus, rather than some other characters such as like Springtrap or Baby or Vanny. Fritz. Fritz has 2 meanings in this entry. One could be Fritz Smith, who was a night guard for only 1 day after FNAF 2's night guard resigned. You play as Fritz Smith in Custom Night, and we know this because your name is on the pink slip you receive at the end of a Custom Night. Fritz is also a name seen on one of the tombstones of FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. This lets us believe that Fritz was the name of one of the children who were murdered by William Afton, specifically the one stuffed into the Foxy suit. Funtime Animatronics. Funtime Animatronics are the names of the characters used in FNAF's location. Only ones named Funtime are Foxy and Freddy. Also Chica, but she isn't in FNAF's sister location, but in Pizzeria Simulator. Although Baby, Ballora, and other animatronics that are in sister location aren't named Funtime, they're still classified under the Funtime name. Fusion Z Gamer. Fusion Z Gamer is a popular YouTuber with over 4.88 million subscribers. He's known for making horror videos, but also does some other videos based on FNAF. Some of his more popular videos are FNAF, whether they are fan games or modding FNAF games. Gabriel. Gabriel's another name on the tombstone we see at the ending of FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. He's a soul that possesses Freddy Fazbear. The reason why I know this, and I also knew it for Fritz, is because the tombstone's names line up with the animatronic heads we see in FNAF 3's ending. Give Gifts, Give Life. Give Gifts, Give Life is another death minigame in FNAF 2. We play as the puppet giving gifts to 4 children. Afterwards, we give life to the 4 children by putting the animatronic heads on the characters. After you do that, a 5th character will appear for a split second right before a Golden Freddy jumpscare happens. Then you'll be sent back to the home screen. Give Gifts, Give Life's 5th child. Well, I kind of spoiled this entry in the last one. For a split second after you give life to the 4 children, a 5th will spawn in the middle before Golden Freddy jump scare. This symbolizes that Golden Freddy is the 5th soul that was given life. Landmark Animatronics. Landmark Animatronics are the official names of the characters of FNAF Security Breach. We have Landmark Freddy and Chica, also Bonnie, but we don't ever see him. Also Roxy and Monty are technically Grandma, even though their names don't say so. Glitchtrap. Glitchtrap is the main antagonist in FNAF VR. He's a soul of Springtrap who became digital code that got into the FNAF VR game. He tries to take control of the player in VR and always succeeds, whether he becomes part of you or traps you in an animatronic suit. Golden Freddy is Fredbear. Golden Freddy is Fredbear is a theory in the early days of FNAF because Fredbear was decommissioned years before Freddy's location opened. So the Golden Freddy we see in FNAF 1 is an empty endoskeleton of a Fredbear costume. Also in FNAF UCN, when you put Golden Freddy at AI1 and no one else, and you buy a death coin, if you use the death coin on Golden Freddy, Fredbear will jump scare you. Grand reopening. In the beginning of FNAF 2, we see a news clipping about the FNAF 2 pizzeria. It is titled Grand Reopening, as in there has been a location before this one, or major renovations had to be made before this game took place. Hacked Font. Hacked Font, I know best because I've used it in thumbnails, specifically this thumbnail in the video you just clicked on. Hacked Font is the font of Five Nights at Freddy's. You mainly see it in like a Fazbear Frights books, but any kind of video on FNAF, they use this hacked font. Henry Emily. Henry Emily is the person I have named up a lot on this iceberg so far, and I can finally explain who he is. He's the co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment. He worked alongside with William Afton. He's more of the technician of the pair, so he did a lot more work with the animatronics. They worked together from the beginning and started with Fredbear's Family Diner, then grew into other locations. He's known as the cassette man, the person you hear in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. He also gets the best monologue at the end of the game, where the place is burned to the ground. Henry was outraged with William because he was the one who killed his daughter, Charlotte. I Can't Fix You, I Got No Time remix. These next 3 entries are song names made by the Living Tombstone. Well, the first 2 are. I Can't Fix You is a song for Sister Location, which had the best music video out of the Living Tombstone songs. I Got No Time was made for FNAF 4, which is personally the weaker FNAF song by the Living Tombstone. I Got No Time remix, however, was made by CG5, where he used his own vocals and put his own spin on the song. This remix video gains so much popularity, it sits around a similar view mark as the original. Illumix. Illumix is a technology and media company who created the augmented reality FNAF game. They did a slightly good job to use augmented reality when making this game, but after its release, it went significantly downhill. At first, it was getting a relatively decent of updates, but then Illumix just completely got lazy with it. Sooner or later, the game just got completely abandoned by them. Any updates that were planned to release just never came. The game is now gone. It's Me Song. Another popular FNAF song. I mentioned this in the Try Hard Ninja entry because he's the creator of this song. This song is well known based on the events that happened in FNAF 1. ElectricBosss, not to be confused with Olymix, is a popular YouTube channel with over 9 million subscribers. They're known for making compilation style videos on FNAF jump scares. So if you want to see any FNAF jump scares in order, this channel was for you. They also make compilations for other horror game jump scares as well. My personal favorite series of theirs I remember watching back in the day was their Willow Jump Scare series. They just showed off all jump scares from popular FNAF games plus other fan games. Jeremy, MCI victim. Jeremy in this entry is another one of the children's names you see on the tombstones of FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. Based on what I mentioned earlier with FNAF 3's head lineup, Jeremy is supposed to be the solo Bonnie, Jeremy Fitzgerald. Now this Jeremy is the night guard we play as in FNAF 2. We know this because when we see the checks at the end of the week, we see the name Jeremy Fitzgerald. Unlike Mike Schmidt in FNAF 1, Jeremy only goes 6 nights in the game and then gets swapped out with Fritz Smith for the 7th custom night. Jeremy Fitzgerald was a Bite of 87 victim. Jeremy Fitzgerald was a Bite of 87 victim is another popular theory. The reason people believe this is because Jeremy doesn't appear in the 7th night due to him being the bite victim. 7th night's phone guy call kind of backs us up saying the building is on lockdown due to an accident. This theory also helps prove that FNAF 2 is a prequel to FNAF 1. JJ. JJ is a secret character first seen in FNAF 2. There's a rare chance that when playing FNAF 2, we can see a Balloon Boy looking character under the desk. This character has been given the name Balloon Girl or JJ. She's also brought back in FNAF World and also is in one of the 50 characters in Ultimate Custom Night. Join Us for a Bite. Join Us for a Bite is one of the most popular FNAF songs created by JT Music. This song took a huge resurgence most recently due to the funny Burger King guy meme that came out recently. The song itself is really good and definitely the best by JT Music. It's also based on Central Location. Jump scare GIF memes. I couldn't find anything exactly on this entry. My best guess is that people find certain memes titled them FNAF jump scares or FNAF jump scare GIFs with funny meme text added to them. I sound like a boomer trying to explain this though. Just Gold. Just Gold is an older FNAF song for FNAF 1, mainly about Golden Freddy, which makes sense because it's called Just Gold. The song was created by Man Opponent, which I'll bet he'll show up later in this Iceberg because of the controversy he's been part of. Kellen Goff. Kellen Goff is a voice actor mainly known for playing Freddy Fazbear in many of the FNAF games. His first voice acting appearance with FNAF was Funtime Freddy in Central Location back in 2016. He has voiced other characters such as Molten Freddy, Glamour Freddy, Freddy from Freddy and Friends on Tour, the daycare attendant from Security Breach, and Arnold from Secret of the Mimic, and so many more. He also played Foxy from the FNAF 1 movie and Toy Freddy in the FNAF 2 movie. LEFTE/Lefty. Lefty is a character first shown in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. He's one of the 4 characters who can kill you in the main part of the game. He can also be salvaged and can be bought in the shop for only $5 but has 9 risk. Lefty is important because he was made to trap the puppet within the pizzeria. Lefty's name is actually an abbreviation for lure, encapsulate, fuse, transport, and extract. Later that night, we kind of talked about in the first entry in this level. Later that night minigame can be found in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator during the Midnight Motorist minigame. In the last lap, we see a little opening in the wall where we can go through to unlock the minigame. You're driving back home trying to see your kids. You see one of your kids sneak out of the back, and you threaten your kid when he comes back. This minigame is supposed to be represent Apton's family. Lives mechanic. In the early beta testings of FNAF, Scott Cawthon wanted to add a live counter into the game, instead of being one and done. A little stick person figure was found in the game's code with the words lives with it. Also on Scott Cawthon's YouTube channel, he has a gameplay video of FNAF 1 where you can see the live counter next to the Night 1 screen. As we know, this feature was scrapped. Lolbit. Lolbit was a character first shown in FNAF World. They were mainly a shopkeeper in that game, but became more prominent in the future games. Lolbit appeared both in Sister Location's Custom Night and an extra character in Ultimate Custom Night. When you see their face on the TV screen, you gotta type LOL on your keyboard. If you don't, he will make a TV glitch sound and you can't do anything until you type LOL. I also think they might be a prominent role in the new FNAF game, Five Nights at Freddy's. Mangle and Funtime Foxy's gender. Something that's always been a question when playing the game is Mangle and Funtime Foxy's gender. Mangle is based off Foxy, who is a boy. Mangle though looks like a girl, and Funtime Foxy also looks like a girl, but then has a very masculine voice. They both also appear in their game's respective Ladies' Nights preset and Custom Night. When asking by Scott Cawthon on Mangle's gender, he just says yes. Mangle did the Bite of 87. Mangle did the Bite of 87 is the most accepted solution to this theory. The reason being that in Mangle's jump scare, they came from the top of the office, opening up their mouth very wide, looking like they were taking a bite of you, symbolizing the Bite of 87. Also, the static that Mangle makes is a glitched up audio sound of a police audio of someone who's missing their frontal lobe. Markiplier in the FNAF movie. Markiplier was supposed to be in the FNAF movie because they wanted to add popular creators to the movie. They added Matt Pat and Corey Kenshin, so why not add the king of FNAF? Well, during the filming of the FNAF movie, Markiplier was working on his own movie, Iron Lung. So if he worked on the FNAF movie, it would have halted production with his own movie. Maybe in FNAF 3 now that Iron Lung is out, we'll see him. MatPat's character named Ness. In the FNAF movie, the name tag on MatPat's character says Ness, which is a nod to one of MatPat's popular theory videos saying that Sans from Undertale is Ness from Earthbound. Cuckold liked this video so that he added a little Easter egg in there. Michael Afton. Michael Afton is the son of William Afton. He's the supposed character we play as in FNAF City Location and maybe in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. He's the one in the Foxy mask in the FNAF Fortnite minigames. He's one of the main antagonists in the FNAF 2 movie as he gets the toy animatronics to attack Mike and Vanessa. He does get caught but pretty much runs free, so we may see him in the future movie. Michael Afton is one of the most important characters in the lore. Michael is Mike Schmidt. Explaining this could take a real life year, but I'll limit it as much as I can. Michael Afton is Mike Schmidt because there's a theory that you play as Michael Afton on all the games. The reason why Michael Afton is called Mike Schmidt is because he wants to work at the Freddy's, but doesn't want people to know that he's related to William Afton. He wants to work at Freddy's to gather information on possible whereabouts of his family and knowledge about the animatronics. Michael is the crying child. This was an early theory in the FNAF community. Everyone thought the crying child you play as in FNAF 4 is Michael Afton, and it made a lot of sense back then. But as new lore came out, we realized that it can't be Michael Afton because he's still alive and well in FNAF City Location. So we had to make the Foxy mascot Michael Afton and the crying child be a different person. Michael is a FNAF 3 night guard. Like I mentioned 2 entries ago, I said Michael Afton is the person you play as in all the FNAF games. Specifically in FNAF 3 because Michael Afton heard about Fazbear Frights and he wanted to find out the whereabouts of his father William. Well, he did find Springtrap and he knew right away that this was his father. People use this reason for the reason why Springtrap's jump scare is so bad. He isn't trying to kill Michael and just wants to make his presence known to him. Michael is the FNAF 4 protagonist. Well, if you thought Michael Afton is the crying child and the crying child is the protagonist of FNAF 4, it makes sense. Or if the crying child isn't the protagonist, it could be Michael Afton going through nightmares because he was the one who got his brother killed. His father is using an illusion disc to make him always scared of Freddy's to never go back there. Michael keeps reliving the horrible act he did to his brother through his nightmares. Mike Schmidt, FNAF 1. I definitely mentioned at some point who Mike Schmidt is. He's a night guard you play as in FNAF 1. You know this because you see his name on the checks you receive for the end of night 5 and 6, plus the pink slip at the end of the custom night. Mike Schmidt is also the main protagonist of the FNAF 1 movie, because he is the night guard who looks over Freddy's at night. Mike Trap Theory. There was a huge debate around the time FNAF City Location came out on who was a person trapped inside the Springtrap suit, known as Mike Trap versus Will Trap. We're talking about Mike Trap here. FNAF fans thought that Michael Afton was the one in the Springtrap suit because at the end of City Location, there was an ending where Michael said he was going to find William Afton. After this, Springtrap pops up on the screen for a split second. People believe that after Michael got scooped, his soul was put into the Springtrap suit. Although this sounds reasonable, I believe still that William Afton is the Springtrap. Minecraft recreations. There have been many Minecraft recreations of all the Freddy Fazbear locations from each game. Even myself, I've built each Freddy location with redstone and texture packs. Some people even made some mods or series on FNAF in Minecraft. One that sticks out to me personally was Afmal's FNAF series she did in Minecraft. Night 8 FNAF 1. There's a glitch in the code of FNAF 1 to get an 8th night. When moving your cursor up and down over the new game, continue, and custom nights buttons, there's a chance for the 5 next to continue game section to turn into an 8. When clicking on night 8, however, it's just a glitch version of night 5, and when you win, you just glitch out and won't get an extra star. Nightmare Animatronic. Nightmares and animatronic we see in FNAF 4 and also in FNAF World and UCN. He's first seen in Night 7 Nightmare mode at 4 AM. He texts from either side of the room trying to get in. You can also get into your closet or on your bed, so you can send him away. He does the same thing in Night 8 but has a higher AI. Nightmare FNAF 3 and FNAF 4. Both FNAF 3 and FNAF 4 have Nightmare modes. For FNAF 3, it's after you complete the 5th night, while FNAF 4 is when you complete Night 6. For FNAF 3's Nightmare mode, it's the hardest mode in that game. You can also make it harder if you add the aggressive challenge to it. Springtrap has absolutely no chill in this game mode. In FNAF 4 Nightmare mode, for the first 4 hours, you have to defend off Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. At 4 AM, only Nightmare attacks from either side from our room. Although this is a hard challenge, this isn't the hardest challenge of FNAF 4, having a Night 8 being 20-20-20-20 mode. Nightmare Animatronics. The Nightmare Animatronics are the names of the animatronics we see in FNAF 4. The animatronics include Nightmare Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Fredbear, Plushtrap, BB, and Mangle, and of course Nightmare and Nightmarion. Nightmarion. Nightmarion is the reskin of Nightmare in the Halloween update. He follows the same path of Nightmare while playing the FNAF 2 puppet music while he's moving. He's also in UCN and FNAF World. He's actually the face of the UCN game, and because he's one of the more annoying characters here. Pizza. Pizza's a funny meme that came from the video series How to Make Five Nights at Freddy's Not Scary, created by Gary Williamson. In that video, he made Chica say pizza and pizza only. People thought it was really funny and just stuck with the character and became a huge meme with the community. Purple Guy in minigames. Purple Guy is in a lot of minigames in FNAF. He's in the death minigames in FNAF 2, Night 5 minigame in FNAF 3, and secretly in a night minigame in FNAF 4. He's inconsistent with his color, but we know it's the same person. Ruin. Ruin is the name of the DLC in FNAF Security Breach. This is a continuation of the events that happened in Security Breach. You play as Cassie trying to go through the ruins of the Pizzaplex trying to look for Gregory. Ruin different endings. Like every game, Ruin has different endings. I mentioned this in the Cassie entry. When you're being chased by the Mimic, there are 3 endings. You either get cornered and end with you crying with the Vanny mask on, while you see Gregory helping Vanessa hanging in a field. If you go another direction, you'll see an elevator and lose the Mimic. You hear Gregory on the intercom while the elevator just falls. The last ending is the good ending. You escape into a room and hit a button. The button has a scooper that scoops and kills the Mimic. Rule 34 art. I don't want to talk about this. FNAF fans have made some not safe for work art with FNAF. That's all I'm going to say. Don't look up Rule 34 FNAF. RWQFSFASXC. RWQ, or Shadow Bonnie, is a secret character we first see in FNAF 2. If he spawns in your room and you stare at him, he will cause your game to crash. He also shows up as a secret character in FNAF UCN, darkening your room. He also shows up for a split second in the FNAF 2 movie. He's just a rare Easter egg thrown in by Scott. Save them. The Save Them minigame is the death minigame we see in FNAF 2. We play as an 8-bit Freddy walking through the pizzeria following the puppet. There's no real goal to this minigame, just kind of explains the missing children system a little bit. During this minigame though, you hear in the background a weird voice spelling out SAVETHEM. Save them. If you encounter Purple Guy in this minigame, the game will go static and you can see for a split second the words, "You can't." God voices Ralph and the phone dude. I am not calling the phone guy Ralph, I don't care. Anyways, the phone calls you hear in FNAF 1 through 3, the voice by Scott Cawthon. That's why they all sound the same. Scott's Bonnie Nightmare. When Scott Cawthon was creating FNAF 1, he had a nightmare of Bonnie trying to get inside his house. It scared him so bad that he jumped out of bed and went to the door to see if it was locked. The door was locked, which made him think that Bonnie was already inside his home. To this day, no animatronic has scared Scott more than Bonnie. Scott's livestream donations. During some charity live streams with some creators, some off the top of my head being MatPat and Dawko's St. Jude's event, Corey's charity event, and Markiplier's charity streams too, Scott has been known to pop in and donate thousands of dollars. He probably donated over $1 million to the FNAF creators for charity. ScottGames.com. ScottGames.com was a website Scott Cawthon would use to post new teasers for his upcoming games. A lot of teasers had something hidden inside, whether in the code or by branding the image. FNAF fans were daily checking his website for a new post by Scott. After his retirement, the website seems to be still up, but then going there would hit you with a black screen. Thankfully, all the posts have been archived for anyone to see. Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy. I've already mentioned Shadow Bonnie in my a few entries ago with RWQ, it's pretty much the same character, but Shadow Freddy, like Shadow Bonnie, is a rare Easter egg found in FNAF 2. When looking at parts of the servers, when no animatronics are there, there's a rare chance you'll see Shadow Freddy hunch over on the floor. If you look at him for too long, he'll cause your game to crash, like Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Freddy doesn't show up much after this game, only in the night minigames of FNAF 3 and FNAF World. Show Stage Freddy Stare. Another rare screen of FNAF. In FNAF 1, when look at the main stage, when Freddy is by himself, he would randomly stare at the camera creepily. Doesn't mean anything, just a scary feature. Show Stage Stare. I mentioned this in an earlier entry. The stare people swore they saw in the FNAF 1 game, but it's not actually real, was supposed to be an actual real thing. Scott didn't just add to the trailer to add horror to the trailer. It was going to be a real thing, but it got scrapped. Sister Location Custom Night Mode. Sister Location Custom Night is an addition to FNAF Sister Location. It didn't exist when the game came out, but it was a later addition due to demand. On December 1st, 2016, Scott added the Custom Night feature. It takes place in the private room section where we face 10 Sister Location characters. Some familiar faces, but some new as well. This Custom Night only has presets. You can't tinker with the AIs and the characters, but you can change the difficulty on each preset. The first night isn't usually that bad. Was a line said by Markiplier in his first part of FNAF 4 Let's Play. This line became ironic because right after he said this, he gets jump scared by Nightmare Chica. Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie is one of the original animatronics created by Fazbear Entertainment. He is a partner to Fredbear and Fredbear's Family Diner. He's a suit William Afton used to lure children to the back to murder them, and the suit he gets string locked in the back room. Squimpus McGrimpus. Squimpus McGrimpus, who I mentioned in the FNAF VHS entry, was a content creator who popularized the FNAF VHS series and analog horror on YouTube. All their videos were absolute bangers and were great quality. Squimpus McGrimpus' channel has been left dormant for over 5 years due to controversy. Squimpus was caught sending NSFW artwork to a private server where underage people were on. Squimpus then confirmed these allegations were true and hasn't been online public since. Steel Wool vs. Olympics. Fans of the compare companies that have created FNAF games in the past, Steelwool and Elemix. Steelwool gets a lot of praise for their games they've worked on for FNAF. Only con with them was that the state of quality FNAF Security Breach was in on launch day. However, Elemix didn't get a lot of praise because although they made only one game, FNAF AR, it got a lot of praise on launch, the game got abandoned and all potential just got lost. So I think Steelwool wins this battle. Survive the Night. Survive the Night is another popular song made by Mandapony. Again, one can play who Mandapony is until his entry comes up, but this song is supposed to be based on FNAF 2. I don't think this is true, but I believe it is so. That Toy Bonnie is the one supposed to be singing this song to the Night Guard about what's going on at Freddy's, but that just could be that we'll be watching the Mandapony animation to the song and saying that. Susie. Susie, just like Fritz, and Gabriel and Jeremy, is another name on a tombstone in the FNAF Pizzeria similar ending. Susie is supposed to be the soul that's trapped in Chica. She's also seen in the Fruity Maze minigame. Sometimes her face would light up, going from happy to sad, and then Springtrap coming from behind her. Take Cake to the Children. Take Cake to the Children is another FNAF 2 death minigame. You play as Freddy Fazbear trying to give cake to 6 kids. As you give cake, the kids become restless faster, you try to deliver the cakes to them. You also see a child outside crying because a car blew up with a purple guy coming out of it. The minigame ends with a puppet jump scare and sends you back to the home screen. Tangle. Tangle has 2 meanings here. In FNAF World, there's a character named Tangle, who is a reskin of Mangle, who's the enemy in the FNAF World Halloween edition. Although Tangle could be the amalgamation we see in FNAF Security Breach, also known as the Blob. We see this character at the afternoon who takes them while you're trying to escape Pizzaplex. Tangle is made up of many parts of past characters, such as Fun and Freddy, Chica, and Puppet, etc. Tales from the Pizzaplex book series. Tales from the Pizzaplex is another book series in FNAF. There are 8 books in the series with 3 mini-stories within each book. Each story is a connected epilogue, adding new content to the lore. For example, in the 6th book called Nexi, we first get to hear about the Mimic character who was brought up in Ruin and of course Secret of the Mimic. Also number 7, Tiger Rock being a character in Secret of the Mimic. Again, I hate reading, so I haven't read any of these. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, though. Thank you, FNAF World. After the release of FNAF 4 on ScottGames.com, Scott Coughlin posted an image with all the FNAF characters with a text saying thank you. Everyone thought the games were officially over and no new releases were coming. However, this wasn't true. Scott was updating that thank you image every so often to slowly turn into a teaser for his new FNAF game, FNAF World. At the end, the full image was released with every character turning into their adventure look. The Afton House. The Afton House is the location we play in FNAF 4. As we know, there's a bedroom for the crying child, 2 hallways, a kitchen, sister's bedroom, living room, and another hallway with 4 door openings where we never see into, but we had to believe it's like a master bedroom and a bathroom and whatever else a house needs. The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night. Another popular line said in FNAF. In the first phone call in FNAF 1, we hear the phone guy say the line, the animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night. This line has become infamous in the franchise and used as a meme when something weird happens. The Bite of 83. The Bite of 83 is presumed to be the other bite we have had in the FNAF lore. The Bite of 83 is the bite scene we see in the FNAF 4's ending, where the crying child gets his frontal lobe bit off by Fredbear. The Blob. The Blob, like I mentioned before with Tangle, is the creature we see in the Afton ending of FNAF Security Breach. His name is called the Blob, but when you look up Tangle, his character comes up first. Anyways, he seems like a passive character, but he can actually kill you if you wake him. Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. Fazbear Fanverse Initiative is a group formed by Scott Coughlin to help support large FNAF fan game creators. He wanted these fan games to get funding to make new ones in their series, make massive versions of their game, make possible merchandise, and even having their games go on other ports. Some current games that are in this group are Finds of Candies, Pop Goes, One-Handed Flumpties, JoJo Creation, and FNAF Plus. The Mimic. The Mimic is a character first introduced in one of the Tales of the Pizzaplex books called Nexi. We read about his origins of his creation and what happens up until the point of Secret of the Mimic. We then see the Mimic in FNAF Security Breach the Ruin DLC. He has become a prominent antagonist in the lore created by Steelwool. The Walton Files. The Walton Files is a popular analog horror series like Squid and McGriffith's series. The story is based off the Walton family and the defunct restaurant Bond's Burgers. Through these videos, it showed a lot of unsettling scenes and horror based on this story, plus some complex lore. The story was a separate story, but getting its inspiration a lot from FNAF. The Flipside.jpg. The Flipside.jpg is the last image Scott posted on his ScottGames.com website. His image had a little short summary talking about his retirement from creating FNAF games. He gave a good sign off while showing off a cute piece of fan art he has received. Theft King. Theft King is a content creator who did a lot of commentary and gameplay based on horror games in FNAF. He is known for his controversies he has found himself into, one major one being back in 2022 between him and the creator of Pop Goes, Kane Carter. He criticized the Fanverse initiative, saying that it's dying off. This led to a huge online feud between them, where then Theft King was accused of lying and hiding context to prove his points. In one of Theft King's streams, he ended it by saying that Kane Carter was an evil and vindictive person, and that if there was a hell, Kane Carter should definitely be there. He He also has other controversies revolving around the very harsh criticism he gives to other fan games, and has been known to be very toxic within the FNAF community. Toichiga did the Bite of 87. Man, we believe everyone did the Bite of 87 back in the day, huh? I think the only reason to believe Toichiga did the Bite of 87 is because she removes her beak when she leaves her stove stage, which could indicate that she had to do that to bite someone. I don't know. I never realized how much fans were just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping things stuck. Tumblr posts. When looking up this topic, I found some weird out-of-pocket stuff that was posted on Tumblr. What I saw were people pretending they got a job at Freddy's, being saying like something like absolute weird crap about it, and the worst drawings imaginable on here. Wow, this place is such a cesspool. Twerking Freddy Fazbear. Twerking Freddy Fazbear is a funny GIF meme that shows Withered Freddy from FNAF 2 twerking inside the FNAF 4 house. You may also see the caption, the animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky and night attached to it. U/AnimDude. U/AnimDude is the official Reddit of Scott Cawthon. Sometimes Scott has come on Reddit to talk to fans about FNAF or answer questions about the game, even posting updates on future projects. Oh yeah is a content creator who became popular for making storytime type videos talking about FNAF. One of his larger videos which got him into a lot of controversy was his video on why he didn't like this location. Cause God forbid you dislike anything in FNAF. So people give a lot of negativity, although brought up some good points about the game. He also made other videos on FNAF and other games. You guys should definitely check him out. Vanessa A. Vanessa A is one of the antagonists of FNAF Security Breach. She's a lone security guard who's trying to catch Gregory, but she's also under the control of Glitch Trap, making her turn into Vanny. Except in the ending, she gets away from his control and leaves the Pizzaplex. Vanessa Shelley. Vanessa Shelley is a different Vanessa. She's a police officer and daughter to William Afton in the FNAF movie. She tries to help Mike Schmidt fight off the animatronics and stop her father once and for all. In the second movie, she puts Mike in more danger because she almost got them cornered by the toy animatronic and the puppet. At the end of the FNAF 2 movie, though, we see her get possessed by the puppet, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens to her in the third movie. Vanny. Vanny is the main antagonist of FNAF Security Breach. Like I said, Vanessa is the one in the Vanny costume who's trying to capture and kill Gregory. When you see her in the game, the whole game starts to become staticky and hard to see. Vanny is underused. A lot of content was cut for Security Breach, and I'm telling you, 90% of it was Vanny. Fans agree that we barely see Vanny show up in the parts of this game. She may have like 2 or 3 long scenes at best, and for being the main antagonist, she's barely there. Yellow Bear. Yellow Bear was an original name for Golden Freddy. Scott Cawthon didn't know what to name him, so he went super basic with Yellow Bear. However, Markiplier's playthrough of FNAF, he countered Golden Freddy and gave him the name that which officially stuck. Yellow Rabbit / William Afton FNAF movie. William Afton is the main antagonist of the FNAF movie, obviously. His fake name being Steve Raglan, who gives Mike Schmidt a job at the Freddy's Pizzeria. He was the one who killed Mike's brother along with the other children. When William Afton is in the Spring Bonnie costume, he's always referred to as Yellow Rabbit. When he was attacking Mike and Vanessa, he was in the Yellow Rabbit costume as well. He only shows up in FNAF 2 only through flashbacks, dreams, and figments of Vanessa's imagination. He will have a major role in the next FNAF movie because that's based on FNAF 3 with Springtrap. Plus the teaser at the end of the movie proves this. You can't. Like I've said at least twice, in the save them minigame, when you get killed by Purple Guy, it'll flash you can't for a second because you can't save them, yada yada yada, we get it. You need to vent Gregory. A funny meme within the FNAF community. During the time of the popularity of FNAF Security Breach, Among Us was also the most popular game. There's a moment in FNAF Security Breach where Gregory needs to vent. Someone online who sounds like Freddy made a funny meme saying he needs to vent and has a hard to be sus. This meme was so popular that Kellen Goff, the voice of Freddy in this game, did the monologue of the Among Us vent. YouTubers in the FNAF movie. There have been many times where a YouTuber appeared in the FNAF movie. First we have MatPat, who had a cameo at the Sparky's Diner scene as a waiter where his name was Ness. And he said his famous line, "It's just a theory." He also was a voice actor for Toy Bonnie in the second movie. Corey Kenshin was in both movies playing a taxi driver picking up Abby and a scary animatronic. Next there was a scene showing an Employee of the Month board with a bunch of FNAF creators. Razbowski, Bazamelan, Fusion Z Gamer, Dalko, and 8-Bit Ryan. I mean, how did I not even know this until now? I had to look it up, I didn't know that at all. Apparently they were Fast Fest cosplayers in the FNAF 2 movie as well, but I don't know if that's true or not. If you made it this far into the video, then you're very awesome, and I hope you hit the like and subscribe button, because I truly appreciate it. The next part will take a while to make. I actually had this video in the works for months, but finally got motivated to really push through and get at least one part out for you guys. In the director's cut, you won't hear his outro, nor the intro of the video, so if you're still listening, then I love you. Anyways, peace out my electrites, don't do that bleach, and always, stay lit.